Hi, this is Kane Hodder, Victor Crowley, Jason from Friday the 13th. You're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.
All right, and we are back once again here at Without Your Head, and now we're joined by Joe Ripple from Scares That Care. It's a great charity. They've got a big weekend coming up next week. We're going to talk all about both. But first, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Neil. Annabelle, how are you? Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to come on and talk about the charity and what we're looking to do.
Absolutely. Thank you for the invite. We're both, as we've told you off air, we're really sorry we can't make it out, but we'd absolutely love to go and hope to go in the future.
Yeah.
Well, we'd love to have you guys, and we do understand that life sometimes happens, and we're perfectly okay with that. So just appreciate the time that you're giving me now to be able to come on and chat a little bit.
Yeah. Now, since I've been going to the horror conventions, since we've been involved with the horror community, we've seen Scares That Care at the different conventions. And for people out there who are not familiar with you, have not seen you at the shows or on Facebook or online, would you like to explain to everyone what Scares That Care is all about?
Well, Scares That Care is an IRS-approved 501c3 charity. And obviously, based on the name, we kind of incorporate our charity to encompass all things spooky. So whether it be haunted houses, horror movies, horror novels, whatever things that go bump in the night. If you're a fan of that and you're looking for a charity to kind of partner with, then we'd like to be considered for that partnership. Scares That Care was founded back in 2006. For your listeners who don't know, I'm actually a retired police detective. And when I was on the job, I had a friend of mine, a partner, who had a 3-year-old daughter. And she subsequently contracted a brain tumor that was inoperable, and she passed away shortly after she turned 4 years old. And I had to be one of her pallbearers for her funeral. And that was an honor. But, it's always sad when a child passes away. And from then on, I landed a gig being the head of security, as I mentioned, a former police officer, and landed a gig as the head of security for a major East Coast horror show, and was kind of looking around one day and got to really see how kind and generous horror fans truly were, and put two and two together, and thus Scares That Care was born.
Who were some of the first horror celebrities that got involved with the charity?
Well, one of the first ones was Kane Hodder.
Yeah.
He absolutely, he bought into the idea immediately. And I guess I should also say that we do this all volunteer. So we don't get a salary or a paycheck for ourselves for doing this. We do it as a labor of love. We do it because it's the right thing to do. And we're also doing it because, we want to put a spin on something that, I'll use the air quotations here, that normal people don't understand. Because we enjoy a certain genre of entertainment doesn't mean that we actually live that genre of entertainment. But Kane Hodder came on board right away. And the stipulation with Kane was that he just wanted us to kind of maybe help a child that's been burned. As we all know, Kane is a burn survivor himself, and we absolutely agreed to do that. And then one of the other things that we wanted to do was, because you can hardly see a horror movie these days without a topless woman running across the screen, we wanted to give back to women fighting breast cancer. So I kind of got off topic here, but we kind of ties into your question. We help a child who's sick or terminally ill. We help a woman who's fighting breast cancer. And our partnership with Kane, we help a child that's been severely burned.
Mm-hmm. I remember I think it was the first Rock and Shock I was at, where Kane Hodder was there, and he was with Scares That Care, and there was a lot of people that came out who were burn victims themselves at that event, because they were like personal. He was like a personal inspiration to them. It was really uplifting, actually.
It is, and you talk to Kane, and he's one of the most down to earth, most kind and generous people you ever want to know. As a matter of fact, when we gave our check to Tripp, a little boy who was burned over 89% of his body, third-degree burns, was not expected to survive. Lost his father in the fire in which he was burned. When we got to the house, Kane wanted to actually talk to the family. So we got Kane on the phone, and Kane took the time to speak to the mother. And, Tripp is just a young man, maybe 8 years old, and honestly, I don't think he knew who Kane truly was, but it was nice. It was very nice of Kane to dedicate his time to talk to that family. Just kind of let them know everything's going to be okay.
So how did you take this amazingly, really kind and generous concept that a lot of these actors and persons have helped out with and get it to the point where now you're running your own convention?
Mm-hmm.
How did you get from point A to point B?
Well, I think, Annabelle, with any kind of business, you're always looking for ways to improve what you can do. And obviously, when we first started the charity, we did not have our 501c3. And what we wanted to do is I wanted to establish a track record of legitimacy. So we raised money for organizations like the Johns Hopkins Children's Cancer Center, the Kennedy Krieger Institute, which is a hospital in Baltimore that helps not only kids that have brain and spinal cord injuries, but also helps kids with autism and Down syndrome, helps them acclimate into society. And then we also donated to the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Mm-hmm. Once we did that, I felt it was prudent of me to obtain the 501c3 because, at this point we're collecting money from horror fans to give to another organization so that they can give the money out and, it kind of makes them look like heroes. Well, we want the horror fans to be the heroes. So I think the natural progression, there were a couple of conventions out here on the East Coast that are no longer in existence. So it wasn't like we were trying to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. We planned the convention 2 years out, and we planned it in the middle of the summer because, as we all know, most of the conventions occur either in the spring or in the fall. And everybody talks about post-con depression and things like that. So we wanted to be able to give them something to do in the summertime.
Yeah.
So I think just as exactly, and it's just a natural business progression. Again, we weren't looking to step on anybody's toes, but when you're running a charity like this, once we got our 501c3 in September of 2011, we were invited to 52 shows in 2012.
Wow.
Well, with 52 shows comes an awful lot of expense, not only in merchandise, but also in travel and rooms and things like that. So what we're always looking to do is we're looking to what can we do to mitigate our cost so that we get the most amount of money together so that we can donate to the families.
Yeah.
So instead of us traveling all over the country to visit the various shows, what we're trying to do is we're trying to modify that business paradigm a little bit, and that's part of the reason why we're doing our own event.
Well, everybody know it's basically 1 week from today. 1 week from tomorrow in Williamsburg, Virginia, for the whole weekend. DoubleTree at the Hilton, and you can get take information, everything at scaresofcareweekend.com. And you have quite a lineup of guests involved. Now, when you guys are setting up the guests, I assume Kane Hodder was one of the first guys you wanted involved?
The very first, yeah.
Yeah. And do most of the guests are they did they come aboard specifically because of what's going on for the weekend and involvement with the Scares of Cares?
Well, I believe so. I say that because you never know what somebody's truly thinking, but I haven't gotten any indications that it's otherwise. Mm-hmm. I can say I've been very, very pleased with the amount of support from the celebrities that we've received. in that event. And also, too, the social media is a very, very powerful tool. It can be either extremely very, very good, or it can be extremely volatile. And, I think you and I both know that for to be true.
Yeah.
And what we have found is we have sat back for well over, 3 or 4 years, and we've watched the comments of people that have attended other shows. And we really tried to take those to heart, just in the sense of we want to do a very, very good show because we understand above all else that we are customer service driven. And so we purposely did not book 4, 5, 6, 7 headliners, because if you do that many, ultimately what happens is everybody winds up standing in a line. Nobody gets to the vendor's room. The vendors get upset because they're not making any money. The celebrities who aren't the headliners, they're not making any money. So what we tried to do is we just really tried to make a nice, eclectic kind of mixture of celebrities that basically everybody would enjoy, to make a nice, well-rounded show. And adding to that, being the head of security for a convention on the East Coast for 12 years and having somebody who's my convention manager to work in conventions for 15 years, we think we hope to have a pretty good handle on what we're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Along those lines, people say, headliners, quote unquote, the big names, whatever. I've always thought, some of those people will bring fans to the show just because they will see them on the site. But when you're really at the convention, it's the people that interact with the fans outside of just, signing an autograph and taking a picture that really is the life of a convention. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, you get people like Sid Haig. Mm-hmm. And Sid was the second person to ask me if he could come to the show. And, Sid is one of those celebrities who has not raised his prices. We've been in contact with the agents, and basically for your listeners, I'd just like to reiterate, the agencies are the management. They're the ones that set the prices. Mm-hmm. We don't set any prices at all. And, it's getting kind of hard out there because you've got these mega shows that are going on and everybody's attending those. And then the agencies are, looking at it like, well, if I can make all this money at this mega show, that's what I'm going to charge for the smaller shows. And I've had to tell a couple of agents, look, we're not about that here. And you got to kind of remind them, look, I'm not making any money off this personally. Any money that we make is going to go to families in need. So is there anything, can you work with me on this? Some do, some won't. And, that's just the nature of the business, I guess.
Mm-hmm. That is really sad because I know even just seeing celebrities at conventions who would be willing to sign an autograph for free just to be nice, and there's always that person, no. So it's that person, the go-between that facilitates everything. And not to say that they're bad people, that's their job, but it must be so frustrating knowing that you're there to do a good thing. And maybe the celebrity would be interested, but there's that go-between that's frustrating.
Well, I mean, it's like I said, it's the nature of the business. And I get it. I certainly do understand that an agent's job is A, to protect their client, B, to ensure that their client is getting the best possible deal that they can get, because C, it translates into whatever commission that agent's going to get off of that client's contract. Yeah. I get that. I understand it. We've just asked, and look, we've told people, here's what we're looking to do. Can you work with us? If you can't, just don't string me along. If you can't, just tell me you can't. Fine, no hard feelings. I'm an old school guy. Like I said, former cop. I've got very thick skin. And, if just be honest with me. That's the only thing I ask. And like I said, we've been quoted prices, and it literally just made my jaw hit the floor. And then you have, other agents that are calling me up saying, Joe, what can I do to help you? And, those are the people that, we'll probably continue to work with. And as the show gets bigger, and I hope it does, and I hope it grows to a level that we can help multiple families all across the United States, that maybe that at that point, maybe sometimes certain people will see and say, okay, maybe we need to cut them a break and help them out. But we'll see.
I want to mention Stuart Gordon's going to be there, and I'm a big fan of his work, and I don't see him at too many conventions, so I think that's going to be very cool that he's in attendance.
Yeah, Stuart and his wife, Carolyn, are going to be there. We have Yaphet Kotto going to be there in his first East Coast convention appearance. I think it's only his second convention appearance, ever. So that's kind of cool. And then we've got basically a Christine cast reunion, including Alan Howarth, who was the composer. Mm-hmm. We've got a Fright Night reunion.
Very interesting.
Yeah, we've got a Fright Night reunion, including Amanda Bierce and Stephen Jeffries, and so that's going to be very fun. And what we're trying to do is we try to do a really nice thing where we could get a lot of people together. I'm obviously, I was a teenager in the 80s. I'm not trying to reveal my age here, but so I grew up going to the movie theater watching a lot of these.
Yeah.
A lot of these films, and it's just really nice to be able to bring them into the show and have them be a part of it. It's really cool.
I have a clear memory of Fright Night. I went to see it with my friend Paul, who wasn't allowed to see R-rated films. And my older brother took us to go see it, I believe it was for my birthday. And I remember on the car ride home, I had explained to Paul all what happened in the Dark Crystal, so he could tell his parents he went to see the Dark Crystal and explain what happened in that movie, even though we didn't go see it. But, yeah.
Yeah, myself and two friends, Steve Myers and Steve Prosser, went to see Fright Night. And it was basically the same situation. We were still in high school. We were juniors in high school. But at the time, Steve Myers was a very big guy, and he had a full beard and mustache. So, he looked like he was like 25 anyway. So we were able to get in. But, it was just a really, really cool thing now to be able to, and I've seen Chris and Steve and most of the other celebrities at the various shows that we attend, and we're fans, but we're not super fans. We're not fanboys. We enjoy talking with them, but we understand they're at shows to make money, and we don't try to absorb too much of their time. But a lot of celebrities, when we're at shows, will stop by our table and chat, and that's always very nice.
Yeah. That was a highlight for me at one of the conventions that I hosted the Fright Night reunion panel, and because that's one of my favorite films too, from as being a kid. It's a great movie. Yeah.
The only sad part about it is that Roddy is no longer with us. So I'm hoping he'll be with us in spirit on this one. I really do.
Mm-hmm. A lot of the cast members of Christine are very cool too, because we talked to Malcolm Danare.
Malcolm Danare, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very funny guy.
Yeah, when I went to Mad Monster at Charlotte this year, he tracked me down right away. And he was just like, Joe, I'm just so excited to come to your show. I really appreciate, the opportunity to attend these events, and really appreciate the fans and things like that. And when, because we're going to have, a Christine card there. Mm-hmm. So having Alexandra Paul and Malcolm and Steve Tash and William Ostrander all there with the vehicle, it's kind of just really, really cool. We're really trying to get Keith Gordon, but unfortunately he was going to be in Africa on a set, so he's directing. So
yeah. Does Steve Tash still have the hair? That'd be pretty sweet.
He does, but I don't think it's up as it used to be, like it was in Christine and in Ghostbusters. Uh-huh. I think it's more laid over now than what it was back in the day, to quote the young people's vernacular.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I think you can still recognize it's him.
Exactly. William Forsythe was there. Well, huge fan of his work. even though I do like a lot of his horror films, I like a lot of his films outside of the horror genre.
Oh, so do I. I mean, the Steven Seagal movie that he was in, Stone Cold, where he played an outlaw biker, which incidentally, the latter portion of my law enforcement career, I was tasked with keeping track of the outlaw bikers in Baltimore.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it was kind of cool, and I've talked to William several times, and it's not every day when your phone rings, and I always answer my phone, and voice on the other end says, "Hey Joe, it's William Forsythe." Now again, I've met William many times, so I can recognize his voice right away. I went, "Yes, sir. What can I do for you?" He goes, "I understand you're doing a show." I go, "Yes, sir." He goes, "I'd love to be a part of it." And next thing you know, we're bringing in William Forsythe to the show. So, I mean, again, he's another one of those truly genuine people that, he didn't want anything else other than, he says, "I just want to come to the show and have fun and help you guys out." How can you turn that down? You can't. And that's if every celebrity was like that, I think the world would be a lot better place. But it is what it is. So we'll drive forward with what we've got.
He's excellent
you
as
just chip away.
Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent as the Butcher in Boardwalk Empire, and and a very underrated mafia film, Once Upon a Time in America. He's excellent in that.
Yep, where he played a part in the Mexican Mafia.
Oh, that
with Edward James Olmos. Yeah,
that was
and
Blood In, Blood Out. Or American Me.
American Me. I'm sorry. Also, if you haven't seen it, you have to check him out in Dear Mr. Gacy. Where he plays John Wayne Gacy.
I've not heard of it. I'm definitely gonna. Yeah, I think that's one we both like to check out.
Yeah, that's interesting.
And I'm telling you, don't skip to it, but the ending's going to blow you away.
I'm actually going to put that down in my notes.
Yeah, highly recommend Dear Mr. Gacy.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Now, since you've been going to the conventions and you said you've been watching what works and what doesn't, is there anything specific to Scares That Care that will, in your opinion, make it different than another convention?
Not really, no. I will say that we are going to be as extremely customer service oriented as we can. And, one of the questions, and, a lot of people rolled their eyes and sighed in disbelief when I've said them this, but I actually think it was a very good question. The problem with what I see how charities are run nowadays, and I'm going to focus on the charity aspect first, and it'll tie into your question here in a moment. Mm-hmm. You watch TV, you ever see those ASPCA commercials come on?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you start to hear Sarah McLachlan sing in the background?
Sure.
And what's your first reaction? What do you want to do?
Help animals?
Help animals. And that's fine, and that's good. But most people you talk to, they want to change the channel.
I was going to say that, but I thought maybe it was
right. They want to change. They want to change the channel because it's you're playing on people's emotions. Mm-hmm. And when I first announced we were going to have the Scares of Care Weekend convention, somebody sent me a question, and they said, "Joe, I'd love to come to it, but I have a question. Is this going to be a show where there's going to be a bunch of sick kids laying around in wheelchairs and stuff like that? Because if it is, I don't want to come." And I understand where that person's coming from because it's almost like tying into that commercial that I just spoke of. And we really said from the get-go that we are a charity of positivity. And we are never going to guilt people into donating. We want people to donate because it's the right thing, not because they're made to feel guilty about doing something. Mm-hmm. So we're going to have a very fun event. It's going to be very positive. We've had our ups and downs already with, people canceling on us and, people that said they wanted to do this for the show. And we say, hey, yeah, okay, great. We'd love to have you. And then, just recently we got a notification, got a notification that our burlesque show that we were going to have, the girl was allegedly in a car accident, so now the burlesque thing is kind of falling apart. But live and learn. I mean, we want horror fans to come together. We want everybody to have a good time. We want people to realize that when they're coming to our show, that they're not, for lack of a better words, not paying my bills and not putting food on my table, but they're actually helping other people. That's where the ticket proceeds are going to go to. We're going to have auctions there and things like that. Not only a live auction with some more expensive items, but a silent auction with some lesser priced but still really, really cool items that people can enjoy and bid on and things like that. So standard Q&A panels and some pretty horrible singing with karaoke, but one of the things that
it's always a good time.
We are looking to do is do something that's called the Not So Newlywed Game. And we're going to bring about 3 or 4 couples up on stage, just like they would in the Newlywed Game. Only these are couples that have been either married recently or been married for a long time. And I shouldn't use the term married because not everybody agrees with that kind of principle, but have been together for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're just going to have some fun with them as well. So we're trying to do something that the horror community can be proud of, per se.
Mm-hmm. Now, what's the story here with the Shanley Hotel event here?
Oh, excellent. Thank you for asking that. We reached out to the Shanley Hotel, and what they wanted to do is they wanted to help out a little bit too. So for those people who are attending the convention, they can put their name in a box. That's the only requirement, is you just have to buy a ticket into the show. And one lucky attendee is going to win a weekend stay at the Shanley Hotel up in New York.
Now, is that what is it about this hotel? Is it haunted?
It's reportedly haunted.
Okay.
Ghost Hunters has been up there and did an episode on it and stuff like that. And we're going to have some paranormal fans there, I'm sure. So it's an excellent opportunity. Obviously, people don't have to drop a name in the box if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
But we're going to give that away. So it's a free 2-night stay, and people get to stay at the Shanley Hotel.
That's very cool. I like that. Let's see. What kind of films will be screening that weekend?
Well, we're doing a film festival.
Mm-hmm.
So there'll be a variety of both feature-length films and short films. Obviously, it's our first year doing it, so we've experienced some really, really good films and some films that that didn't make the cut.
Uh-huh.
But we're just trying to give people the opportunity to do some stuff and enjoy themselves other than go get my autograph, walk through the vendor's room. Okay, nothing else to do. Now I want to go to the bar, which is fine. Hey, if people want to do that, that's great. But not everybody wants to do that. So we're trying to do some other things that will give people a chance to enjoy some other events. We're going to have a makeup wars competition, which is both for the amateur, which will be kind of fun, and then professionals will take over on Saturday night on the model kit competition for the people who enjoy model building. So it's just a wide variety of things. And like I said, not everything has come to fruition this year, but hopefully, as we the show is successful, we'll expound upon it.
Mm-hmm.
But Neil, one of the things, and Annabelle, I'll let you know this too, is one of the things that we actually did was we created a fan advisory council. And what I did was I selected 13 fans who regularly attend a wide variety of conventions, not just horror conventions. Some of the people attend sci-fi conventions, Dragon Con, things like that.
Comic-Con, yep.
Yeah, Comic-Cons as well. And whatever we did, or whatever ideas we had, we ran it past them first for their feedback. So we really tried to get a fan's input on what we were looking to do. And this was not only for events, but for celebrities as well. And so we we removed our ego out of it to make it as fan-centric as we could for our first show.
Charles
I
Band.
think that's definitely the way to go. If you can't bring in people, you're not going to be able to get people, like you said, just throwing something together, slapping it together, have some celebrities to sign autographs. So if you can appeal to those convention goers that know what they're doing and it's not their first convention ever, get that cross-section, I think that's a wise move, without a doubt, especially for longevity, because you want to be able to have a continual, you keep some people that want to stay and maybe some new people want to come in, and then you can have a real diverse group of people through the plan being through the years.
Right. And that's the whole key to success. I think, especially with the charity. Now, obviously, I'm the founder, I'm the CEO, but the charity is not about Joe Ripple. The charity is about the families we're trying to help. So, to me, it's very, very important that I constantly am trying to do the best thing I can for the families, not for myself. And to that end, we're always going to try to do what we can to put the families first.
So now, I mentioned quick to Charles Band, who has been on the show before. I've always wanted to see his show, and it's very cool that he's bringing it to the weekend. Yeah,
again, just something else that we wanted to offer the fans. It's not something that we tried to make it so that everybody could enjoy something, but we didn't want it to be a situation where people were walking away going, man, they had too much stuff to do and I'm mad because I didn't get to go see this.
Yeah. That's always, that's an issue too, because I've been to conventions, or we've both been to conventions where obviously you're not going to want to do everything there, but then if you have too much stuff, then they overlap and you have to miss something. So, and then both are bad,
Right, and then you'll have that person who's, on the internet and they're ripping you apart because they didn't get to go see something that they wanted to go see. Mm-hmm. And it's like I said, it's the power of social media is extremely strong, and you have to be very, very cognizant of that. Now, is somebody going to walk away from Scares of Care weekend upset about something? Probably. We know that. We understand it. But we're trying to do everything we can in our power to make sure that doesn't happen. Because again, it's not about us, it's about the families. And I think if people understand that, and, we've got a very, very good management team in place. We've got multiple people in charge of specific areas. So, all people have to do is look for somebody in the staff shirt and they should be able to get an answer right away. And again, just trying to provide the best possible show we can our first go around, and hopefully it's successful.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure we both agree. We wish you all the best of luck, and wish we could be there, and hope everyone in attendance has a great time, and all the celebrities, all the vendors, which is another thing to bring up. Vendors, when you're there, you should always check out the vendors and help them out. And
absolutely,
just hope it's a big success. And do you yourself collect anything when you're at the conventions from the vendors?
I can tell you this, Neil. I've had so many items pass through me out to other people, and there's been so many items that I've wanted for my own collection. There's been things where I went, oh man, this was donated. I would love to have it, but again, I've got to put the families first. With me, the integrity of being able to sit back and say, we've done the right thing is far more important than anything else. And I'd rather do that than, just, have the chance of getting some kind of collectible that is a one-of-a-kind thing. Mm-hmm. One of the things that we are giving away or I shouldn't say giving away, but we are auctioning off during our live auction is a signed 8x10 of Bela Lugosi.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Yeah. And you want to talk about something that I wish I could keep?
Yeah.
We're also auctioning off a signed 8x10 of Elsa Lanchester as the bride of Frankenstein.
Wow.
Wow.
That stuff,
not just nothing small there. That's some big stuff. I wouldn't imagine some people would want to be there just for those things.
Yeah, and I mean, again, it's just something that, you know, going back to Neil's question about wanting to keep things. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, I understand the bigger mission, and we've had some people send us messages about, hey, how high do you think that item's going to go? Because I want to try to budget for it, and I honestly don't know. Mm-hmm. You know, it could go for a couple $100. Some of the items we've set, you know, hey, look, the minimum bid on this is going to be, you know, $500 for this, and you know, that's where it's going to start. You know, and keep in mind you're bidding on something that is not only a very cool collectible item, but all that money is going to go to families in need. So, but, we're having a really cool costume contest too, and Best in Show is nominated by the celebrities will get a $500 cash prize.
Excellent.
Oh,
yeah. So we're really trying to encourage the cosplayers. If you got a really cool costume, come on out and enter the contest.
Yeah. And I like that the makeup one, you had the one for you know, people who are experts, and then you also have the one for novices. So it's a good mix.
Yeah, and then the novice one is obviously it's for fun.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things about the makeup wars with both competitions is much like you see on some of these cooking shows, Iron Chef, for example, there will be a secret ingredient which must be used, and it will only be revealed at the time of the competition.
Yeah. I like that. I like the little twist.
Yeah.
Well,
so
we want to thank you for coming on and let everyone know next weekend, June 27th through the 29th, Williamsburg, Virginia, Scares at Cares weekend. You should be there. It's going to be a great time, and it's for a great cause. And thank you for coming on.
Neil, Annabelle, thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. I'm sure I will bump into you guys at another show here relatively soon. But again, Thank you for the time, and thank you for the opportunity to come on and chat about what we're trying to do. Really do appreciate it.
It's been a pleasure to learn more.
All right, guys. Take care.
Thank you. You as well.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. We will be right back. We're gonna play some tunes from the Casket Creatures, which are the artists of the month. And I'm saying this very slowly because the program died, and I'm trying to reset that up. And now I'm breaking the third wall here. But we will be right back. And Casket Creature is very cool, and thank them for being the artist of the month. It's good stuff. And so play them, and then we'll come back, and we're going to tell everybody about our weekend at Bazaar Atlantic City. And I know people have been waiting to find out who won the cocktail contest. You'll find out soon enough.
Hi, this is Heather Langenkamp from A Nightmare on Elm Street, and you're listening to WithoutYourHead.com.